seconds out.
Roger 1. Notes down, boys. We're on.
Hey guys, today I've decided to look at and pick apart what makes Clean House and the first part of the Wolf's Den so good. These missions are probably the most different, innovative missions in COD's history. These missions do not create tension by adding too many enemies or making fights really tough through an army of terrorists. These missions create tension by making you not know what might come next. If you shoot through one door, you may save your friend.
Over here, the bad guys. Outside the door!
But shoot through the other, and you kill an innocent, defenseless mother.
Check your shots.
Now!
What the fuck are you doing?
The enemies, when put in combat, aren't any smarter, but their positioning tactics and the way they are coded to hide, attack, react, and even reach for a gun and get surprised makes them feel really human. They also crawl, bleed out violently, and beg you for mercy. And even if you know that these are the bastards that killed dozens upon dozens of civilians in the Piccadilly Circus attacks, you still feel sorry for them because they're human.
Get those rooms cleared.
They're not dehumanized by them giving you random stock faces, but through the way they act, they become human.
Firewall, good breach, going rear.
You sympathize with them, even if they're hiding one of the world's worst terrorists, as they beg you for mercy or stand with their hands up while you flash them. These missions are also extremely realistic, with its friendly AI, as they work together in an extremely similar fashion to how real soldiers do. They breach, clear, work as a team to achieve their goal.
Check left, check left.
You are shoved in such a close-off space. When one of your friends is shot, you can't help but feel emotion, even if they have no character and they're just a faceless soldier.
Outside the door! Get to the stairs, now.
Civilians work in very interesting ways too, as they rush to help a dead loved one and then retreat or become hostile in a split-second decisions. They cower as you point your laser at them and hope they don't get shot. This makes complete sense, as the claustrophobic feeling of the house and the walls pushing on you can make you make such an abrupt decision when a civilian makes a sudden move or you don't see that they are unarmed. And some of them even hide away like hostiles, meaning when you check a corner, you don't know if they're civilian or hostile. So many of us just shoot first, ask questions later. Many of the civilian unknowns care for the terrorists you shot and jump out from their hiding space to touch the body of the terrorist and cry over it, and then see you with the lasers pointed towards them and cower away. This can either make their fate so quick and abrupt and also so unjustified, or they can just cower away in fear and surrender. In these missions, you really have to be coordinated. If you see a hand, if you don't shoot first when you see that hand, it might be a terrorist killing you in an instant. Or it may be just a defenseless mother again, just trying to protect her child or run away from the action. You never know in these missions, and unlike all other Call of Duty missions where all you have to be focused on is shooting the enemies, these ones, you have to focus on way more. You have to focus on killing the right people, checking corners, and remembering how to be a good soldier. Without further ado, let's start with Clean House.
Targets are up, boys. Let's kick this off.
The mission starts off in the alleys of the English townhouse, with a dark environment with light from buildings and other environmental objects leading you to the objective. This is really reminiscent of Naughty Dog's formula of leading you to the objective, as he kind of had the same method. When you reach the objective, most of your paths of entering the house are blocked off, and you can only choose to go up the ladder. I want to take a brief moment just before entering the house to talk about the environment. Parts of the world are lit up with strong lighting, while others aren't. The rails the train moves on are old and rusty, and they throw smoke your way, and some buildings look poor or unclean, showing what kind of area you're fighting in. However, one thing that doesn't fit in is the cars. They look, expensive. Plus, they're also indestructible. I tried everything, grenades, gunshots, whatever. They can't be destroyed. Alright, so on a more serious note, the entry into the house is really smooth and clean, no pun intended. You notice exactly what kind of mission this is. Immediately, as if your reflexes get the better of you, you can kill a civilian. And there is no mission fail screen. Uh-oh. You know, from now on, you have to make the ethical decisions, and the game won't hold your hand. One of the areas that was once blocked off is also now open. I just wanted to point that out.
Trust the wolf.
You know I do. But this operation failed, so why are we doing this?
In the next room, there are 3 hostiles, which you can easily identify as all reach for a gun if they spot you. Many people easily take them out without checking if they are hostile or surrendering, and that's actually how you are meant to do it, as Captain Price orders you to
Operation failed, so why
Secure.
as they talk about terrorist plans while weapons rest next to them. If you also look closely on the mission briefing, one of the terrorists in the room is shown to be responsible for planning the Piccadilly attack. What most people don't really wait to see is that the terrorists in the other room are talking like normal human beings, and there's a lot of things they talk about. The dialogue is very interesting. They talk about their diabolical plans, where they'll attack next, and how the plan of the Piccadilly attack either failed because the body count was too small, or how Al-Qatala is now a household name. I'll let you take a listen.
We're working with an ultra-nationalist group. They'll handle operations in the east after the attacks.
Trust the wolf.
You know I do. But this operation failed, so why
It
are we
did
doing
not
this?
fail. Your dead brothers made sure of that.
We were supposed to have double the body count. It's all over the flippin' telly. That's the point.
This is the United Kingdom.
Take the front row.
Anyone walks around worried that they're going to get blown up. Well, now they do. Al-Qatala is a... We need to coordinate with the other groups. Paris, Moscow, Munich.
And the Yanks?
Soon. Where the hell is that tea?
This further cements that these are people and are still human at their core, as they are conflicted, mad, and also proud, even though we know that they lost all humanity in the Piccadilly bombings. Next floor is where things get really interesting. In the room you need to clear, there's a terrorist holding a woman hostage, meaning you should only shoot him and keep the woman safe. If you do, she will reach for a gun and try to kill you. You have time to react, but if you don't, you will die. Also, if you accidentally shoot the woman, the terrorist's surprise is amazing and shows that he's not always prepared for anything. Most doors in this mission that you open, you usually just stand in front of them and open that way. But doing this in this room might get you killed. This really does take you by surprise, and you can learn that from now on, you should breach a room from its side. Moving on up to the next floor, this is where your buddy gets shot. You can prevent this by shooting his killer through the door before he reaches it, and this spawns interesting dialogue between your team as they discuss it if you hit the bad guys, showing that they aren't certain of what might happen to you.
Hope you hit the bad guys.
Of course, usually your buddy walks in front of the door and gets his ass blasted, but we'll forget that.
Outside the door!
Now, if your buddy did get ass blasted, you can take the room in many different ways. These are some I made up. Breaching and clearing. Grenades.
2-6 use the grenade. Roger, moving.
Door wall banger.
Everyone get up here now. Roger, moving.
And my personal favorite, gangbang flashbang.
Roger, moving.
Many engagements in these missions have many ways to tackle them, and if I showed you all of them, the video would be way too long. Next floor is the one with the mother, where you learn the hard lesson of don't shoot through the door. This goes against what happened on the last floor, where the best way to tackle the situation was shoot through a door. Next one, really simple, but surprising, as the only enemy slides under a bed to kill you more safely. When he does this, he obviously looks scared.
Secure.
The last floor is nothing special. You shoot a surrendering enemy because you're above the law. Isn't that right, Captain Price?
Drop her.
Without further ado, let's get on to the Wolf's Den.
We're in the AO. Lights out.
Let's nail this bastard.
I find this mission to be inferior to Clean House in a few ways. The first thing I realized is that most of the rooms have the same structure, while in Clean House the rooms were chaotic in design. But I realized this is the mission where you put everything you know from Clean House to use, and the claustrophobic game design plays right into this. While in Clean House there was shallow stairs and shallow hallways, the rooms were very open and you had room to maneuver. In the Wolf's Den, hallways are small, rooms are shallow with loads of corners, and the stairs curve, leading to really powerful close-range attacks from the terrorists. This also leads to many jump-scare-like attacks from the enemy. Another thing that was really noticeable is that the Wolf's Den compared to Clean House is way shorter, and the engagements aren't as interesting. They're mostly the same and they're really quick, but this is understandable since the Wolf's Den isn't just about the night raid. But I would still want more, as the Wolf's Den is really short and the engagements are just thrown out everywhere. But as I said, it is difficult, and it's more of a test to see if you learn anything from Clean House. And when I say test, I mean the things that you learned from Clean House, like when to shoot through doors, how to penetrate the enemy, how to save hostages, and how to check corners without getting killed, are all applied here, but in a way smaller way, where it doesn't, all engagements seem to be the same. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
go. Checking that.
اسمعني هلا روح هلا خايفة النوم.
عددهم كبير، لازم نستسلم.
لحظة.
All clear. 1 KIA, 1 unknown. Check left, check left. An interior.
Even though they kind of use what you've learned from Clean House to really make those engagements. But they're mostly the same, as I said, because the rooms are so shallow and small, and they basically all have a civilian, while Clean House had civilians that changed sides, all that stuff. These missions just have civilians, and the ones that do change sides, sort of speak, they're really easily noticeable, while in Clean House, the woman that picks up the AK, you couldn't know she was on the Al-Qatala terrorist side. Now, I don't hate this mission, and I don't think it should have done more. I honestly still love this mission with all my heart, and even though I pointed out that it's a bit repetitive, I think that just makes it even better. This is what you do to see if you've learned anything from Clean House. The rooms are more shallow, so you have less space to maneuver. There's more civilians everywhere. Enemies are more unpredictable as they jump out from everywhere. Yeah, it's a bit repetitive, but it's way more realistic and way tougher. So I think this mission, while it is repetitive, it has its merits in the way that it's not always just easy going, and you have to put all your skills to good use. Now, I won't dissect this mission like I did with Clean House, since there is the 2 floors that are basically the same thing, but I'm just gonna say, they made some really cool emotional moments with the mother and the child. They still did that whole civilian changing sides thing, even though it was really obvious she was gonna become an enemy. And they also did a lot of, surprise attacks from the enemy. The civilians didn't really act like civilians. They sometimes did like enemies, which makes sense since they're scared. But what I wanted to bring up is the final part of the mission has some interesting dialogue. It's not much, but it is a bit interesting, so I'll play it for you.
Bloody gold mine this is.
Let's go, get it done now.
Our media's low priority, label it and set it aside.
They need all cell phones on one right. Power them down, bag them up.
Check.
We're not cutting bait.
Alright boys, that's gonna cut it. This took me a really long while to make, so I'd appreciate a like. Not like baking, just I will appreciate it. I'll also not be putting out as much content since school's coming out soon, but you will still get 3 or 4 videos per week, or okay, I might be pushing it 2 videos per week max, or even 1. I won't mix a week. Cool. Alright, my Twitter's in the description. Click the video above Cabs and Price's thumb to go to another video and watch more. Big YouTube bucks.